Chicago, Illinois, Jackson, Mississippi, Detroit, Michigan, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Boston, Massachusetts, Atlanta, Georgia, Seattle, Washington, also Portland, Oregon, and also New Orleans, Louisiana, and also Kansas City, Missouri, home for the FEMA World Cup soccer matches this summer in Kansas City. We're going to launch with the Missouri Mexican Commerce for another Saturday, February the 28th, the last Saturday in the month, last day in the month, 2026. My name is Ira Folks, your host. Create along with Elder Allen Loud, Scott Owens, Denise Busby, and also Mr. Chucky Bolton. And right now we are broadcasting live on Ferguson USA Hot Talk Radio.com, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. And we're broadcasting from beautiful Ferguson. That's not true. We're broadcasting from Woodson Terrace, that's in North St. Louis County and also St. Louis City, and also from Warner, Missouri. First of all, we want to say thank you so much for making us a part of your weekend. On to the Missouri Chamber of Commerce since 2015. Every Saturday, without fail, we have been able to come into your homes since 2015. We want to say thank you so much. And if you missed today's show or missed parts of today's show, we can be heard again every Sunday and Wednesdays, same times between 1 and 3 p.m. on these same platforms. So right now, we just think we made it for the weekend since 2015. God, that's a long time, brother. Long time. And also, Scott, how you doing today, sir?
I'm too blessed to be distressed.
Yes, sir. Well, this weather is just type of weather, isn't it, for riding? Am I right?
Oh, yeah. Tomorrow's going to be a little chilly, though.
Well, Scott, we had 7 degrees yesterday.
Yeah, we're going into 30 degrees tomorrow.
Well, yes.
Welcome to St. Louis.
Welcome to St. Louis. Well, next we're going to have a prayer with Elder Allen Loud, pastor of the Water for Valley Chapel Church, located at 5547 Little Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri, 63120. How you doing, sir?
Fine.
All right.
Let's bow our head.
And this is last week's
Heavenly Father,
clip. So
we thank you for waking us up this morning. You didn't have to, but you did.
But I have
we thank you for blessing the universe, Heavenly Father. Blessing everybody in the universe. Some went to sleep, some didn't go to sleep. But those that went to sleep hope that they were saved. If they weren't, they in hell. And those that still woke, that they're all right, and they get on board before it's too late for them if they're not on board. And Heavenly Father, we just thank you for your wonderful gospel, how that Christ died for our sin, was buried, and rose again. I continue to believe to the saving of the soul, continue to make heaven your home before you sleep and after you sleep. Heavenly Father, we just ask you to continue to bless everyone in the universe in Jesus' most precious name, and that we have a wonderful fellowship with you. Amen.
Amen, amen, and amen. Thank you, sir, for a beautiful word, and that allows, if ever was a time for prayer, it is now a time for prayer.
All right, the subject, I'm in John, the 3rd chapter of John. That's what we're going to start with. But the 3rd chapter of John, the 3rd chapter of John is the gospel, the new birth. The gospel is the new birth. That's why this is the only message that get people to go back to heaven and be with God forever.
Okay.
Is believe in the gospel. It's the 3rd chapter of John. The J in John means Jesus.
Amen.
The O means omnipresence. The H means holy. The N means nation.
Okay. Say it again, Rev. Say it again 3 times that you tell us already.
The J means Jesus. The O means omnipresent. The H means holy. And the N means nation. The J means Jesus. The O means omnipresent. The H means holy. And the N means nation.
I can relate to that, sir. I can relate to that.
The 3rd chapter of John. In the little fourth title said, Jesus and Nicodemus, the new birth, compared with verse 3. There was a man of the Pharisees named Nicodemus, a ruler of the Jews. The same came to Jesus by night and said unto him, Rabbi, we know that thou art a teacher come from God. For no man can do these miracles that thou doest except God be with him. Jesus answered and said unto him, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. Nicodemus said unto him, How can a man be born when he is old? Can he enter the second time into his mother's womb and be born? No, sir, he can't. Jesus answered, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born of water and of the Spirit, he cannot enter into the kingdom of God. That's how you're born again, by the water and the Spirit. That's the Holy Spirit birth, new birth.
Amen.
That's the new nature. That which is born of the flesh is flesh. That which is born of the Spirit is spirit. Marvel not that I said unto thee, ye must be born again. The wind bloweth where it listeth, and thou hearest the sound thereof, but canst not tell whence it cometh, and whither it goeth. So is everyone that is born of the Spirit. Nicodemus answered and said unto him, How can these things be? Jesus answered and said unto him, Art thou a master of Israel, and knowest not these things? The reason why they didn't know about the gospel, because they weren't saying the gospel. They were talking everything but the gospel. And that's why people are so confused in the churches today. They said they think that the water baptism saved them. The water baptism, if you go down in the water, not believing Christ's death, burial, and resurrection, you're going to die and go to hell. But if you go down there believing, then you pass from death into life before you sleep and after you sleep. Verily, verily, I say unto thee, we speak that we do know, and testify that we have seen, and you receive not our witness. If I have told you earthly things, and ye believe not, how should you believe if I tell you of heavenly things? And no man hath ascended up to heaven, but he that came down from heaven, even the Son of Man which is in heaven. And as Moses lifted up the serpent into the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have eternal life. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. The gospel. For God sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. He that believeth on him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already, because he had not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of God. And
you're breaking up a little bit, Brother Allen.
Huh?
You're breaking up a little bit.
Okay, I'm too close to the mic then.
Probably.
All right, I'm high now.
Sounds a little better.
Doing great.
Okay, and this is a condemnation that light is coming to the world. Men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. For everyone that doeth evil hateth the light. He that cometh to the light, that his deeds should be reproved. But he that doeth truth cometh to the light, his deeds may be made manifest, that they are wrong in God. After these things came Jesus and his disciples in the land of Judea. There he tarried with them and baptized. And John also was baptized in Canaan, near to Salem, because there was much water there. And they came and were baptized. But John was not yet cast into prison. There arose a question between some of John's disciples and the Jews about purifying. And they came unto John, said unto him, Rabbi, he that was with thee beyond Jordan.
Okay, now read this small favor, okay? When we just kind of review what Christ is just was talking about here, okay? We talking about the light.
You breaking up. You breaking up.
Yep.
Well, we have some technical difficulties today early in the program.
Well, let's take a small break and reconnect. All right.
That'll work.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. Thank you so much, and welcome to Ferguson, USA Hot Talk Radio, talking with the Missouri Black Chamber of Commerce.
Welcome back to Lunches Missouri Black Chamber of Commerce. We have a technical break there, but right now we are reading from John, the third chapter, and Elder Lounge was in the process of doing explaining the message that Christ was giving us here before he began to baptize. So, Rev, tell us about reintroduce people to Nicodemus, where we are here.
We in verse 25.
Okay,
We just left from verse. I'll read 24 again. But John was not yet cast into prison. Then there arose a question between some of John's disciples and the Jews about purifying.
Okay, Rev, before we get into John and the disciples, okay, kind of clear up a little bit here about Nicodemus, okay, what Christ was telling him here, which was the important point here about how we can be born again. And we don't want to leave people hanging on that. That's very important that people understand what is, what that actually means about how you being saved.
Oh, you want to go all the way back up to the top?
Not just review it in general. This gives an overview of what you just said, what is being said there. And when Christ is saying, he said, "Really, I say to you, we speak what we do know and testify what we have seen." And you receive not our witnesses. So anyway, explain, okay, what's Christ explaining to people who have been baptized, people who have not been baptized, and people are starting to get baptized. And let's talk a little bit about that, why people want to be baptized and need to be baptized.
Okay. It said, in verse 3, Jesus answered and said unto him, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. Mm-hmm. Nicodemus said unto him, How can a man be born when he is old? Mm-hmm. Can he enter the second time into his mother's womb and be born? No. Jesus answered, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born of water and of the Spirit. That's how you're born again. That's how you believe in the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. And you pass from death into life before you sleep and after you sleep. You have to believe that before you go in the water.
And also, when he said really, when he said back-to-back time, tell us what he's saying. When he said
the word verily means truly. Truly, truly.
Mm-hmm. You want to get your attention when he's saying that.
Yep. Start at verse 6. That which is born of flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the Spirit is spirit. Marvel not that I said unto thee, you must be born again. The wind bloweth where it listeth, and thou hearest the sound thereof, but cannot tell whence it cometh, and whither it goeth. So is everyone that is born of the Spirit. Nicodemus answered and said unto him, how can these things be? Jesus answered and said unto him, art thou a master of Israel, and knowest not these things? Verily, verily, I say unto thee, we speak that we do know, and testify that we have seen, and ye receive not our witness.
One other thing, let's go back to Nicodemus. Tell him what does a Pharisee, since he described as a Pharisee, exactly what is a Pharisee?
A Pharisee ain't nothing but a lawyer.
Okay.
The scribes and the lawyers, those were those Jews, those wicked Jews that had Jesus crucified.
Mm-hmm.
That's who they were.
Okay, because in the Bible here, Pharisees, and people say, well, what is a Pharisee? Okay, so he knew the law, but he didn't understand. He didn't understand what God was saying.
Now, the reason they didn't understand what God had said because they was in unbelief.
Mm-hmm.
See, when you're in unbelief, you can't please God, but you might please yourself with your personal opinion.
Mm-hmm. So right now, we have a lot of people, who listen to what Nicodemus was saying and what the Pharisees, the lawyer, was saying. There's a big difference in what actually takes place, and that when Nicodemus couldn't visualize, how can this take place? Because it's not on paper this way. And God, Christ was just saying, this is a new thing and a new day, and that He came here to make a change in life and to change our lives forever. But we had to understand what He was doing, and nobody wanted to listen to Him.
The reason why Nicodemus was a master of Israel, but Nicodemus cannot talk what he don't know.
Right.
So that's why he came that way, because he didn't know. And that's what they do in the churches. They keep the gospel hidden to the people.
Why is that?
That's why people say, I get baptized, I'm saved. I'm saved by going in the water. No, you're not. You got to believe the gospel before you go in the water. Water don't save. Belief saves. Jesus Christ, death, burial, and resurrection. That's what saves you from going up in hell. You go out in the water with them and can go with them.
Okay. Okay, so you continue. Go ahead, sir.
If I have told you earthly things and you believe,
Welcome back to St. Louis, Missouri. Not for to Missouri, that's your coming from beautiful, beautiful Saturday afternoon. Matter of fact, we were just saying this from 70 yesterday, 6 days, snow tomorrow. But we hope it's nice where you are. But one thing I can say here, this crazy weather, creating a whole lot of problems with people who have with the flu right now. We have had several outbreaks around the country. There's a new variant that's out now called the H3N2. And this is creating a whole lot of a high hospitalization over 4 million people have been affected by this. It's also affecting the children, and also with this new outbreak, you can't just take your jacket off, you can't take your coat off, you just y'all carry a sweater or something, because like as sure as we have this conversation, here in St. Louis, but on the East Coast, guys been hit with snow and snow and snow and snow. So, but we normally get that, but now you have it, so that's the thing. Around by way, weather begins. One thing that our weather is unpredictable, and right now, as we go into the weekend here in St. Louis, looking for some snow. There's dropping the temperatures naturally, but right now we can be careful and make sure you wash your hands and do the things that you need to do to keep your family clean. But also, more important than the flu outbreak, this measles is getting real crazy. Matter of fact, in the last 2 months, we have seen it jump from 0 almost 2 or 3 cases now to over 22 and over 11 cases. And this is taking place in a lot of college campuses where somebody goes home, somebody at home is not vaccinated. So right now, vaccination for this measles is so important. And we say you can go to your doctors and get your vaccination. Or you go to your health clinics, local health clinics, health departments and stuff, and get vaccination there. And in some cases, you can go to the Walgreens stores, but wherever you do, please get vaccinated. Right now, our director has said that, CDC that says that we don't need the vaccination. Well, that's not be proven to be actually true right now. That one people he's trying to get approved now before Congress will not be approved because she's running into some headaches because she didn't have the proper identification. So now this is going on with our health. Health is so important to all of us. So again, do your own research. But most of all, get your vaccination. And we always say, COVID-19 is not too far away also. And there's a new variant from COVID-19 that's out coming out here. It's called NB1.8.1. And this is from the Omicron family of COVID. So again, this is something new, but whatever it is, it's still deadly. So please get your vaccination. And most of these vaccinations you can get for your COVID, for your measles, and for your flu shots, get them all at one time. You got one thing for sure, this is some serious stuff. But please continue to wash your hands, when you go in the bathrooms or whatever you do, and you touch buttons and stuff, have a glove or something. And also, we always continue to wear your mask, and also give social distancing wherever you can. And that's so important. As a matter of fact, this week is the last week of Black History Month, and some memorable things that took place that I'm talking about on Wednesday, this past Wednesday, in 2012, Trayvon Martin was killed at the age of 17 in Sanford, Florida, by a gentleman by the name of George Zimmerman, who was acquitted of second-degree murder. And this was a thing that changed a lot of lives. Just a lot of lives to trade. And also, in 1964, this week, Muhammad Ali, no time you know this, no Cassius Clay became the world heavyweight champion, beat Sonny Liston. And also, we happen to say that Muhammad Ali became a world figure around the world. And now a lot of things that are taking place in Black History Month that people are not even aware of. We know here in St. Louis, Annie Malone is a lady that was one of the first millionaires in the country, black millionaires in the country. And she did a lot of things now. If you go about our daily lives, you're probably saying, well, blacks haven't done a lot, but I mentioned Madam C.J. Walker. She also was involved with the straightening comb, and all of that. That was back in 1905. Then it's something that we all come accustomed. I need now is this thing called a typewriter. And it was invented by black gentlemen back in April 7, 1885. And the stethoscope, and that goes back to ancient Egypt. Something else that we got away from, we used to use pencil sharpener that was invented by a black man. Something we all see it used every day in the summertime. It's called a lawnmower. And that was invented by a black man, L.A. Burr, back in, guess what, 1889, in May the 19th. And also, your cars that gold. And these are things that in our everyday lives. Those cars that gold, spark plug. You gotta have a spark plug. Our mailbox, guess what? Black man did in 1891, Paul Downing, George Washington Corbin. Yes, he invented peanut butter, which was a peanut butter. Matter of fact, the almanac, this went back way back in 1791. Benjamin Banneker created the first almanac, and also something that we take for granted, but we still need a thing called a little keychain. But now you put your bob on it for your card, but that was invented by a black man, F.J. Luton, in 1894. And also, this is something that we all have to have nowadays. We all heard about the motor, the car, and all that stuff. I was talking about this before. But the gentleman that actually invented the motor was Frederick M. Jones, June the 27th, 1939. And also, something you cannot do without, in your everyday lives, is your refrigerator. Well, that was invented by a gentleman, black man, June 14, 1891, by James Grant. And this is something that we all be did. I'm just trying to see about this one, Scott, the traffic light. And people run them like crazy, but that was invented by a black man back in 1923, Jared Morgan. And the iron board, which is kind of out of the resistance, but Sarah Boone did that back in 1887 in July, on the 30th of December. And the fire escape ladder, a lot of that you live in New York, the high rise, here, matter of fact, people going back to those high rises, and they become more dissipated cities now. Matter of fact, St. Louis is trying to take advantage of getting us some more high rises downtown that are vacant now. And so we're talking a bit about that also. And also the guitar, which is something that goes back to 1866, invented by a black man by the name of Robert F. Fleming Jr. And something that to make those tall buildings accessible to everyone was the elevator. And that was invented by the name of Alexander Mills. And right now we don't need this, but air conditioning was invented. So the fountain pen by a gentleman by W.P. Purvis. Oh, by the way, Frederick M. Jones invented the elevator and the air conditioning unit. And also the electric light bulb, not electricity, okay, but the light bulb itself. Louis Lattimore, that was March the 21st, 1882. And this is something, that the golf tee, if you're a golf player, and the small page there, well, that came about black man in 1899 by the name of T. Grant. And also the hand stamp that sometimes people still use those now, and the clothes dryer. Matter of fact, Mr. Purvis also did that also. And in the cellular phone, which we all have become used to, it goes back to 1971, Henry T. Sampson. Those are just some of the things that black people have created, and this is Black History Month. So we ask you as the month winds down, do your own little research, okay, for your family, for your kids. That's for your own information, okay? Black has been a lot of stuff that's been a part of our lifestyle. and he make things great for us. That's a good thing. And also, excuse me, this time of year we always have the science, going back and forth in this area. But also something that's real big taking place that walked away from buying time, the Warner Brothers discovery, and and so this is kind of a big situation, and so right now Paramount, all of that they got so far, well, they technically speaking have won the bidding war. Now that's going to change the way we watch TV, way we watch movies for a long, long time. So we just see how that comes about. Matter of fact, the deal may not be approved by the FCC, but right now, where the FCC is now, I think it will be approved. But that's how it used to be in cases like this. Okay. And also the Supreme Court ruled on Tuesday. This is something that affects everybody here. That the United States Post Office cannot be sued by Americans, even when employees deliberately refuse to deliver your mail. By a 5-1 vote, the Justice Department ruled against a Texas landowner, Melvin Cohen, who alleged her mail was intentionally held for 2 years. Now, Ms. Cohen is black, claims racial prejudice play a role in Postal Employees Act. This is not good. So right now, to mail, that's things you can do. And also the FedEx sued the United States government Monday. The latest coming to do a refund on what it paid in tariff sent by President Donald Trump last year after the Supreme ruled in favor of that. This last week, okay, about the tariffs. Well, they had filed this lawsuit in the court back, in the Court of International Trade, who calls from illegal tariffs, including Costco, also in their business. Government, and actually most of these were filed prior to this taking place. Another something that's really affecting a lot of people. When we talk about AI, we don't know exactly how AI is affecting our everyday lives. Well, I'm fortunate to say, people recall, I'm quite sure, the company Twitter, but it was created by the name of a guy named Jack Dorsey. He also owned Block, better known as Square. I think he just laid off, this is here in St. Louis, okay, he just laid off 4,000 workers. 4,000 workers. And mainly is because AI is taking away those jobs. And not only in his case with his company, okay, you have a lot of corporations right now that have the same thing. And people being phased out where where you have human beings doing things. And like I said, AI is not going anywhere. And that's why I said something that just took place this week. Even as we speak right now, there's a dispute going on now, okay, up in with the Pentagon and with our defense. This company, Anthropic, ANTHROPIC. This is what I'm telling you about, Scott, today. You have AI. They say you will not give in to the Pentagon's demand for its technology. President Donald Trump said Friday, you order all federal agents to phase out the use of Anthropic technology after the company publicly dispute with the Pentagon over artificial intelligence safety. Now the safety is that they did not want to give up your rights, okay, for people to listen on you. But this that they could do anything they want. They use AI against you. So the company saying, we're not going to allow our technology to be used against the everyday citizen. And not only is this the only one, OpenAI and Google, they also have the voice support. So they're not the only company that's saying they don't want this technology to be used by the Defense Department. Like OpenAI, Google, they also have voiced their support. So this is something that's going to be, going to be going on for a little while here. Also, this is something that's going to change the way, AI. The AI is something that's not going away, and very slowly getting into everybody's life. And also, as it gets into our lives, you probably wherever you live at, you haven't heard about, you read about 5 data centers coming into your community. Well, right now, data centers have been around for quite a while, and all that means is all about pictures, all about our information is on your cell phone, pictures that you take. That stuff got to be stored someplace, and they put them in data centers. Now, it just so happened now that they run out of space in normal situations. And so now I know in here, Missouri, around the country, I've been following a little bit. It's been a ban been trying to be put on against these companies coming in, and one here in this area was no moving forward. Excuse me, but he had ran into a problem with his finances because they didn't want to finance another thing. I mean, God should say that he had a problem with finances because right now most cities in this area are small towns. Matter of fact, one city right now is taking a step, which makes good sense, to hire a consultant to tell them the pros and cons for this city. Because again, it creates some jobs to build these things, but it's not a long-term job. Naturally, computers control only a few people that to maintain them. So right now, this is what's taking place right now, and also something we've been keeping track of. That technology-wise, is the moon shot. NASA said Friday you have to revamp it on this moon exploration program, make it more like the fast-paced Apollo program. Now, ever since it goes. So right now, they're making preparations to go around the moon. They're not going to be there, they're going to go around the moon. But so that way they can take pictures all around the world, make sure anything they need to do there. Okay, so right now, this we've been keeping track about that the launch had to be moved back. First of all, we had just a hurricane down in Florida. Then now we have this technical problem that had to be resolved. So now they're doing some more redesign of the program. But one of the things about this, you want to get it right. We have our people out there in space. You want to make sure they come home safe. And that's something that's very important. Again, that they don't rush this and get it right the first time, because it's like the only time where we get a chance to do this. And this is so important. It's so important, so important. And also, something that I think is very important. But there's been rumors that the president was going to attempt to use executive order to take control of our voting system. Executive order for the midterms. Well, he said he's not going to do that, and I think that's a good thing. Because so I understand now, he said he won't do it because the voting rights are controlled by the states. That's something that they have, and so and our voting information are controlled by our states. And right now, for him, to take control of that is going against the Constitution. So right now, he's saying he's backing off of that. Not so much resistance, okay, but time will tell. Time will tell. And also, another executive order, you probably not heard a lot about this, but the IRS, the workers that work there, they had been part of a union where, guess what? Thanks to an executive order that President Trump signed in April of last year, March of last year, where guess what? They're known to know he's kind of the bargaining unit with the IRS workers have been terminated. And so that kind of called union buses. And there's be more about that, I'm quite sure, as time go by. And another thing that was going for the news that Scott you had it up in. We thank you for like you said, you heard some of our resources that the Pentagon, well, I said, Defense Department was about to start cutting some of the benefits for the VA veterans and stuff. And there's something that was, being prepared to do, and the word got out to the department down, in the Veterans Affairs, the ministers in the program, and they told other people, and we all got busy talking to our friends. And Scott, thanks to you, get it to our state director for the VA, for the benefits and stuff. That program has now been, they're not going to do it. It's not going to do it. So thank you, God, for your help in that also.
Well, remember, this doesn't have anything to do with the Department of Defense. This is the VA.
Right, this is for the VA. So this is for the Veteran Administration. Okay, thanks, Doctor. The Veteran Administration. The Veteran Administration. So right now, they are backed off of this, and we hope that stays that way. Veterans, last thing they need right now is to have a cut. And Scott, you gave me an example on why, they want to cut the benefits, because they want our veterans, to kind of pass away. It's a cost. It's a cost, but guess what? You can tell out that, if you call your congressman, call the people that you're dealing with, you can make a difference. And so right now, this difference was made. Scott, we want to thank you for your input also. And also, something that's very important to everyone, the mortgage rate continued to fall ever so slightly. Last week it was at 6.01. Yes, we're down to 5.98, and this is continuing slowly going down. And that's good. Sometime in this, I think it's in May, the president have to appoint a new chairman of the Federal Reserve Bank, and the other one that sets the interest rate. So we'll see what takes place then. And also, 4 years ago this week, Russia invaded Ukraine, thinking they could get it done in a couple of months. But 4 years later, the war is still going on. And just this week, President Putin is still refusing to come to the table as he continues to barrage of over a couple hundred drones every day this week, and a lot of lives continue to be lost. And there's no peace in sight. And also, while we got this morning, we were informed, I should say, that the United States and Iran are at war along with Israel. As earlier this morning, there was some strikes that took place against Iran, and Iran is now taking some of our bases in the Middle East and some of our allies there. So, as we said before, I don't think this is going to be a war here like the one we had down in Venezuela. Because Iran, but they want to have a regime change. Well, to have a regime change, you have to have a lot of things take place. And right now, the Ayatollah, I think he's old of age, like we all are. And I think that he he's solidified himself.
Ira, can I say something?
Sure, go ahead, Scott.
I just want to remind you that only Congress has the ability to declare war, but we are doing military strikes. That's a different thing.
Okay, tell the difference, Scott.
Well, the difference is that unless Congress declares it a war, it's not a war. It's like Vietnam. It was never declared a war.
Right. It's just you're right. It's not a war, so I take that back. We're not at war, okay? We just had a military strike this morning against
Iran. Well, it's also being supported by Israel and Saudi Arabia.
And Saudi Arabia. So we want to take that, okay, right. So right now we get here in St. Louis. We want to say that we ask for your prayers because in St. Louis City and County, murder rates continue to increase. Matter of fact, one thing of the blade that the most of the NAACP chapter is found for investigation to a man that was found inside of a Union Station, the Metro Station. They took him to the floor, took him out, put him on a bench, in the city, and left the man to die. So right now, this is going to be an ongoing thing. We had a video of this, and also right now we're saying murder rates continue to increase in St. Louis. That's a good example there. So it's carjacking. My name is Ira. Folks, this is Alonzo. I'm going to be right back with our very Mrs. Dr. Coffee Wright. Take it down here. This human coverage on the beautiful Saturday afternoon on Ferguson USA, HotTalkRadio.com, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We're broadcasting live. It can be heard again on this Saturday program in its entirety. Or you get us again tomorrow at 1 o'clock and Wednesday from 1 to 3. So now, without further ado, we have to have back again Dr. Coffee Wright. How you doing, Coffee?
I'm well. Thank you so much for having me. Beautiful day in the loop.
It's beautiful. This weather is unbelievable.
Absolutely.
Unbelievable. As a matter of fact, I see you taking advantage of it today.
I am. I'm at the Colored Troops, Buffalo Soldiers, 13th Amendment Park.
Okay, now tell us exactly what is the 13th Amendment? What is it for? What is the name for?
Well, the Colored Troops, Buffalo Soldiers, 13th Amendment Park is just what it says. It's a park dedicated to the colored troops, the U.S. colored troop soldiers. It's honoring them, all 300,000 plus. It was over 250,000 black men, and it was a lot of black women who pretend to be black men that joined the Civil War. It's also...
Let's talk about that, okay, how the black women pretended to be men to get to want to fight, okay, in the war.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and they made a difference.
That's right. It made a big difference because it took everyone. Everyone made a difference. The runaway slaves, the free men, the women pretending to be men, and the white soldiers who were already battling. Because again, this was the white boys from the north against the white boys from the south, and there was no black people in this war. And unfortunately, the white boys from the north were losing. And so Harry Tubman, Frederick Douglass, Martin Delany, Sojourner Truth, all of them convinced John Brown, the white guy. They convinced Abraham Lincoln, hey, if you want to win this, you better go ahead and let the slaves, the enslaved black men or enslaved Africans, get in this war as well as the free men. And guess what? You know, the incentive was, if we win, if you win the war, then free the slaves. But that was a heck of an incentive. And they said, hey, when they heard that, they was like, hey, we ain't got to be slaves no more. No more picking cotton. No more master. Say what? Hey.
Well, they had a great incentive, which was their freedom. You know, and that changed the whole war altogether.
The entire trajectory. Because the South was winning. Them white boys from the South was pretty tough, you know. It was just yeah, they wasn't no
they
joke.
were fighting. No, they were entrenched, okay. You know, in the cities they were in, and they just was refusing, okay, to give up. You know, the slaves that they had.
Right.
You know, and the time they were treating slaves nicely. Some did, but it was one of those scenarios that to make a difference, okay, just think about this, okay. Not only did in the Civil War did black soldiers make a difference, but in every war that we had since that time, the blacks have stepped up. The Buffalo Soldiers is so important for this museum that you created here. As a matter of fact, I want to compliment you, okay, for what you're doing with the Black Buffalo Soldiers Museum here in St. Louis.
Thank you so much, because again, it's also honoring the Buffalo Soldiers, which were the baddest of the colored troops, right? So after the colored troops helped win that war, kick butt, they went on to the Indians named the Buffalo Soldiers because they say because of their dark skin and their woolly hair. But nevertheless, they were the of the colored troops. And so, yeah. So with that being said, I have to honor them. And also...
Now, let me ask you a question, okay? What gave you the idea, the concept, behind what you're doing here, with your project that you created?
Well, what gave me the idea was when my mom passed in 2021, the genealogist told the family that my mom's mother, being my grandmother, that her grandparents' names were on a monument in D.C., and it had something to do with a war. They participated in the war. Their names were etched in steel, along with a lot of other names. And so I don't like wars, and I'm not a big fan of anybody going in the military, just to be honest. You know, my dad was a Vietnam vet, and that didn't work out too well for the family or him. And so after going back and forth to D.C. several times in between that, I finally decided to search for that museum. And when I found that museum, African American Civil War Museum, I saw I was able to find not only my grandmother's grandfathers, both of her grandfathers' names up there, but also 229,000 other black men, Africans who were enslaved and some were free, names up there, as well as the women. And I said, this is unbelievable. All these people risked their lives for us to be free, and many of them gave their lives. And so
right.
I wanted everybody in St. Louis to see that, you know, and it was easy for me to find because I called my sister and asked her. She keep up with all of our family tree and everything. And I said, what regiment were they in? She told me 38. She said the same one, Kathy Williams, which was the black one of the most popular black women who pretended to be a black man. And she told him her name was William Cathay. And so she was in the same regiment. And so that's how my sister remembered. There's 179 regiments. So looking at all those names, it's going to be kind of difficult to find your ancestors if you don't know what regiment. So find out, family. Everybody needs to find out who their ancestors were and what regiment they were in, and then you can go right to them. So I was so impressed with that. I said, I know everybody in St. Louis is not coming to D.C., but if I can bring this to St. Louis, instead of me just honoring. Because when I decided I was going to make a park, I was going to name it after my mom. And some people say you should name it after you. Coffee, you done so much. You ran for the United States Senate. You done this. You're first St. Louis female youngest rapper, and you made films and all this. And I didn't want to do it after me. But I was not named after my mom. But then when I was there, it was just like I just felt the ancestors, all the ancestors. And I'm saying, you know what? This has to be named after all of these black men and the black men.
Okay, now, Coffee, just for the sake of concept, we'll come back to this if you don't mind. Since this is Black History Month, okay, why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the things that Coffee Wright has done? You just mentioned, okay, you've been in film, you was a rapper. Tell us a little bit about Coffee Wright. If you tell us about when you got your story, and tell us a little bit about your beginning and where you got to where you are now.
Well, I'm originally from St. Louis, born and raised right here in Missouri. And
what high school?
Beaumont. And
okay.
Actually, I went to Northwest as well. I never talk about Northwest. I was there for a short period of time, but actually, I did go to Northwest as well, Blue Devils. And I call it, Beaumont is the Blue Jacket, so I call myself a Blue Jacket Devil.
Okay. Well, okay, that's
a Blue Jacket Devil, right? And so, but anyway, test out of high school in 11th grade, went straight to Forest Park College, majored in childhood education, and from there, while I was doing that, I was working with abused and neglected children for the Salvation Army. Did that for 3 years. I tested out because I actually had a child. I had my daughter. And so I didn't go to 12th grade, just went straight from 11th, had my daughter, and then went straight to Forest Park Community College. Anyway, after that, I became an insurance agent. I was president club for 3 years, earned every trip they had to London, all over the country, and as well as out of the country. I loved doing it, made way more money than anybody I knew my age. I've been living on my own since I was 15. I actually got my first apartment after I turned 16. But anyway, the thing is that I got tired. I loved the money that I was making as an agent, but I love writing poetry. And so after I graduated from college, I decided, I'm moving to California. And so people thought I was nuts. Why are you going to move to California? You don't even know anybody up there. Well, I actually had a biological grandfather that I didn't really know that well, but we would go visit in the summer. And he owned a lot of property there. And he said if I moved up there, I can have one of his properties. But that didn't end up happening because when I moved there, unfortunately, he passed the next few weeks. But I went to California because I wanted to pursue a career in the entertainment business. I wanted to learn how to make films. I wanted to learn how I was a rap artist when I was a teenager in St. Louis. When Dr. Jock's Stand was on the radio, and you call in on the radio and do the school roll call. I look forward to that, And then I was a member of this organization called Ready Every Time Records, and we threw all the teen parties in St. Louis, And so I still had that writing drive in me that I wanted to write. I wanted to write poetry. Rap is just poetry. I wanted to write films. I wanted to learn that. So I just walked away, moved up there, relocated, saved up some money, and got to California. Was able to learn my way around and start being able to have small roles. It led to me having small roles in large films like Devil in the Blue Dress with Denzel Washington, 5 Heartbeats with Robert Townsend, Gridlock with Tupac, even, Point of No Return with Bridget Fonda's. And so I enjoyed working on the movie sets, and I learned filmmaking by being on the set so long. All these big-time directors were my mentor, even when they didn't know it, because I'm there.
You got first-hand information.
Hey, you bring your lounge chair and you sit back, and that business is a hurry up and wait business. So you're in a movie set 16. It's common to be on a movie set for 16 hours in one day. On an average day is at least 12 hours.
Now, let me ask you a question, Coffee. On the movie set, I know they got to reshoot and reshoot. What explain how that if you're an actress there, how did that make your day go? You have to sit there, like you said, sit there and wait. What happens there?
Yeah, I mean, what really takes time is the crew setting up. They got to get the lighting right and everything has to be in order. And like you said, they reshooting scenes and of course, it's not a lot of one-shot wonders. So it's take 1, take 10, take 20, you know. And so, but you're learning. You see what it takes to make it happen. You see all the different positions and that it, you know, camera angles, and you just learn so much. You know, I did it pretty much every day. And in between time, I bought me a bomb pop truck, which was a mail truck. I hand painted it. My sister and I both bought one. We hand painted it, and we drove around selling anything we could sell off of ice cream trucks, from bottles of water to polar sausages, and of course ice cream.
Wait. Okay, so on the set, people were hungry. You know, I guess you saw a need there, but they couldn't leave. They couldn't leave, so they were.
Yeah, we didn't do it on the set because the set had plenty of food. They have craft service. They have craft service, so it's craft service tables where you're eating all day, and then they have catering. So they fed us well. Okay. And I'm a union actor, so unfortunately, the union people ate different a lot from the non-union, and I didn't think that was fair. And I had friends, you know, I would meet people. I love people, so I meet non-union people, and so they may be eating bologna sandwiches or hamburgers and hot dogs, and we're eating steak and lobster. And so I didn't like that. So I would take food over to people if they wanted something special, especially our seniors, you know. But yeah, it was plenty of food on the movie set. But the bomb pop trucks, you know, on days when we didn't work, we would be going through the parks, going through the neighborhoods, through the communities, you know, because we didn't want to be one of those, you know, many homeless people that you see. California has a large homeless population, you know.
Right.
Large. And we were too far away from home. That was our new home. we didn't move up there to do that. You know.
But you had to survive. But one thing you were creative enough, okay? You saw a need, okay, and you filled the void.
Absolutely. And if, you know, we would sell whatever. Firecrackers, it didn't matter. Bolo bats, whatever we can get our hands on cheap. And we can sell it to
I guess when you go to the flea market, that's where you get your stuff at.
Oh, we got our stuff from they had a place, they had a 99-cent store. Before St. Louis ever had the dollar store and all that, California had a 99-cent store. Everything was 99 cents. So perfume, knockoff perfume, you name it, whatever. We would buy whatever we thought we could resell. and that's what we did. And
how did it feel to work on a set with Denzel Wright? How was that?
Oh, I mean, it was awesome. He was so down to earth, and so, you know, so it was cool. You know, it was very respectful. You know, he was very respectful. Carl Franklin, the director, was very respectful. I was shocked that I got cast. I mean, you know, when the audition happened, I wasn't even called for the audition. I just, you know, I hijacked an audition, and when I get there, they said, well, they had an open call. But they already done looked at the females. I look around, and it's like 2,000 black females look just like me going for the same role. And so, and it was over with. They were casting the men at that point, and it was an evening audition at that. It was at night. And so, yeah, so I was just looking while they was casting the men. I'm standing on my tippy toes just trying to see what was going on. And Carl Franklin called me and said, asked my name and asked was I available to come in next day. And I said, yeah. So I get there the next day, you know, thinking, wow. Everybody's saying, wow, they had you come in, got all your information, all that. Wow, copy. And so I'm thinking, okay. Next thing you know, I'm waiting to hear from them. I'm working on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And I get a call saying, they want you down there in 2 hours. I'm like, 2 hours? Oh, no. This set is not over. I'm at NBC. This set is not over yet. I can't leave. So I had to make a decision whether to walk out on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and I was playing a maid on that, to get down to the audition for Devil in the Blue Dress, you know, and so I decided, I said, okay, we're going to lunch soon. When we go to lunch, I'm just going to leave. I'm going to go south on them at lunch. I'm going to tell them I'm not feeling well. I got to go, and that's what I'm going to do. But I didn't have to, because the director of Fresh Prince liked what we did. He said, that's a wrap. Okay, you did a great job. I played a maid. And you know, and all I had to do was laugh and lean on the back of the couch, laugh and say, "Can I have one more?" They had us being, you know, playing like it was a party and we had been drinking, and so anyway, he wrapped us in time. I was able to go straight to that other audition, you know,
Ain't God good? Ain't God good? Ain't God good?
God is good, because we always kept a spare outfit in the trunk of your car. You keep certain things, extra makeups, a dress that doesn't have to be ironed, and spare makeup and all that. But anyway, bottom line, I get there, and again, there goes about 200 women that look just like me. So how do they pick? And everybody's staring at the script. They call them sides. So we're staring at the sides like it's Chinese arithmetic, and the secretary tell me they out of sides. So I don't know what I'm supposed to say. So I'm like, are they crazy? They're gonna call me down here for an audition, but they ran out of paper. So one lady said, look, she said, you can read mine. And when I read it, all this paperwork, two sheets of paper, and guess what the magic words was? Guess what the lines were? Hey, easy. Are you kidding me? All this paperwork, and all you have to say is, hey, easy. That's what they want you to say for the audition. Hey, easy. So I thought but two words, and it's considered a principal role, and union actors, but hey, easy. So when I thought it was a joke. And so when it was my turn to go in, I asked them, is there any particular way you want me to say this? They said, no, I just say it 3 times. So I decided to say it 3 different ways. And by the time I made it home, they told me I had the wrong.
Okay, let me ask you a question, okay? While you on the set, okay, are you on the payroll, if you're a union actor?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, once
as long as you're on the set.
As long as you're on the set. Yeah, and then it goes by hours. Like you have a flat rate, whatever rate you negotiate, whatever rate your agent negotiate or you accept, and that goes for the first 8 hours, and then after that, every 2 hours, your salary increases. It doubles, then it triples, and then you get a bonus, and so no one makes the same amount, And
so the grace of God, you was able to get down there. Was this a Bel Air union job also?
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was called a day player, so it was just for that one day, and so again, it was a small role. When you have a small role with just a few lines, or if you're featured, then so there was definitely a union job. And so, but you know what I like best? I like the non-union jobs because I would have larger roles. And they say it's no skin in a big role and a small role, but I would have more lines in a non-union film, and you have more freedom, even in definitely.
You said more freedom. Was that good? Explain that to us, okay? Because we know that we haven't been on a set before.
Well, for instance, in a non-union film, say you're a waitress, and in a union film, they may only, because of time's sake, they cut so much and everything, and so they may say you may be just to walk up to the person, and you don't even ask them what's their order. You walk up to them, and then they tell you, I'll have a some, and you notice that in movies that the main actors would just speak first, or the waitress may say, "Can I take your order?" And that's it. Well, in a non-union film, the waitress, will come up to you. Hey, how y'all doing? You want, may I have, they say, they give the order. Okay, would you like this? And what that, it's more dialogue, and more natural. It's natural for a waitress to say, may I take your order? But a lot of times in union film, they won't. The actor would just go ahead and speak for time's sake, Yeah. And so.
But anyway, so now you're on set with Denzel Washington, and you got beyond, you were blessed to get the right word to say.
Right. Which it ended up being, hey, easy, you looking good, baby. It extended. So if you go for popcorn, you will miss me.
Okay.
Don't blink or go for popcorn. You got to put in, go to YouTube and go straight to our scene. Put in Denzel Washington name first, and then put Coffee Wright, Devil in the Blue Dress, and then you'll see that scene. Don't go for popcorn.
Wow.
Yeah. And I still.
How did that make you feel to be in something like that?
It was a blessing because when you're out there that's what you're hoping and praying to be able to be cast in something that your family to see that will be legend. Um, and so I appreciate it. When we were in the same hairstyling trailer, and they were shaving him and doing his hair at the same time. They was doing my hair, and the other, yeah. And so we were sitting right next to each other, and he was just an awesome guy, and yeah. So got a chance to meet pretty much everybody on, throughout the, different movies that I've had the opportunity to work on. Arsenio Hall, met Eddie Murphy. I auditioned for him. Just everybody. Red Fox, Richard Pryor, all of them in different movies. Della Reese. So I just pretty much met everyone that I.
No, you had a pretty good career. I mean, for somebody, I'm really okay. I mean, just naming some of the people that you work with, okay, when they became in contact with, to be associated with those people, okay. You had quite over so far. I think I've been counting over 8 different legendary people, okay, that you work with.
Thank you. Yeah, I did. I feel blessed to have worked with, and not only the black actors, but white actors as well. But I still, I love the filmmaking, and that's when I start making my films, making my poems turn into movies, and for movies, putting them in film festivals. I wrote a film called Killing Me Softly, and it was accepted at the New York Film Center as well as the
Okay. Now, where did you shoot that movie at?
We shot it in California, but I'm so attached to St. Louis, it's my hometown, that I wanted to make it look like St. Louis. So we spoke as though it was in St. Louis, and I had a license plate for my car that I drove up to up to California from years back.
California.
So we had put the St. Louis license plate on the back of one of the vehicles and made sure that was shown.
Okay.
But the cameraman kind of blew it in. If you look closely in one scene, you'll see a palm tree when we at a park, and St. Louis just don't have the palm trees.
No.
Right. So
that's not true, Carl. That's not true. You go to the
continuity, we lost continuity on that one particular scene if you catch it. You know what I'm saying? You have to catch it. But other than that, we shot it in California. I used a lot of actors that I knew, friends and family members, and my mom is even in it. My mom was in town at the time. I'm always good about throwing in family members and friends of friends when I do a film, And so we did that, Killing Me Softly. It's available. You can see 2 15-minute sections, part 1 and part 2, on YouTube as well. Again, by putting in Coffee Wright STL. But then, I worked on so many videos, produced and direct so many independent videos and other film projects of other people's. I worked with Art Evans, John Witherspoon. I cast them in my productions and my films. And so, again, people can Google me and see whatever, watch as much as they want. But
okay, let me ask you a question, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So now, okay, when you're in a union film, okay, does that mean after the movie's been shot, everything is you get paid, off those movies? How does that work?
Yeah. Well, everything is negotiable, so you can sell your movie right out and have nothing else to do with it, or you can negotiate that I want to get residuals.
I'm talking about
for the films that I've done. By me being union, then I get my residual checks. The union makes sure of that. That's the reason why we paying them. With any other union, you make sure our paychecks come. Make sure, So SAG, Screen Actors Guild, as well as AFTRA, American Federation of Radio and Television. Those are the two. That's actually one union now. Those were 2 separate unions, but they collaborated some years back. So I was a member of both before they merged, and I'm still a member of both.
Okay, so let me wrap it up. So in the movie you with Denzel Washington, okay?
Yes, sir.
How do the residuals, the residuals, every time the movie is shown someplace, how does that work?
Yes, and it's not shown in the theaters anymore, but every time somebody buys a DVD or if it's shown on cable, then it's the union's job, it's ASCAP's job, it's BMI's job. It's their job to find out when this is being played, and then the money is divided up. Of course, Denzel gets, he's the star of it, so he's getting the big fat checks, and then the executive producers, Carl Franklin, director, and Jesse Gottsman and all of them. But Gary Gottsman and Jesse Beatty and all of them, they getting, the major money. But we all, anyone that's in that movie is getting a check.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You mind me asking normally how much those checks be?
Oh, they vary. I had a check as small as 10 cents. And I had a check. It wasn't even worth the stamp. But then I've also received checks for $1,500. And so it just varies. I probably get the lowest check for that particular movie. I probably get the lowest check. But I do get a check.
No, you do get a check. You do get a check.
I do get a check quarterly,
Okay. So really, okay, with you being a part of both of the unions out there, that's kind of not an easy thing to do.
Oh no, because the unions are not just out there. The unions are nationwide. SAG and AFTRA.
I know.
Yeah, and the thing is that it's a catch-22 because you can't get in a union unless you've had a speaking role in a major film, but you can't have a speaking role in a major film unless you're in the union. So that's the way they keep us out. That's the way they keep us out, because how many of us have aunts or uncles, cousins, daddies that's going to give us a speaking role? And, and that's probably where the casting couch comes in. That's probably where all the nepotism and favoritism. You see this celebrity, and then next you know their son or daughter is in it, in the movie, and everybody's related to somebody or somebody's husband or somebody's wife, because it's full of a lot of nepotism. And so I just thank God that I didn't have to experience the casting couch and when I auditioned, because they were just, Carl Franklin was an upright brother, and and they didn't approach me like that. And they auditioned. The casting director was a black lady named Vicki Thomas, and it was just about their business, And so since I came from St. Louis, people thought I was country, And so I couldn't win for losing. Go to California and say, oh, she sound country. And then in St. Louis, you're in California long enough, I come back to St. Louis, they say she proper. Give me a break.
Okay.
So they
you have to laugh, okay, about
the Southern accent is what they called it. Worked fine for Devil in the Blue Dress, because they felt like I had a Southern accent.
No, okay. What was your role? How did that role come about? That you were in that role.
Well, for those who've read the book Devil in the Blue Dress, I played the character Rita Cook, and so, once they edited it down, like I said, all I'm saying is, "Hey, Easy, you looking good, baby," and that's about all my part was in there, because the main focus wasn't on me. But Rita Cook was somebody who had a relationship with Denzel, who was a little less than we just call a streetwalker or whatever, a lady of the evening or whatever. And so, that was the role, And I also had the opportunity to meet the writer of all the Devil in Blue Dress and all these different, I forget his name, I can't think of his name right now, slipping my brain. But anyway, I've met him several times. And he's awesome writer. But anyway, so it was just so many movies. I did that for some years. I can't even remember every film I worked on. Films that come up and people say, "Oh, I saw you in this film last night," or L.A. Riot. That was a movie directed by Mario Van Peebles and his dad Melvin, and that was on the Rodney King story before the Mike Brown incident, had ever taken place.
Right.
And I got cast in there, and I had several scenes in there, and that's where I met.
In the one, oh wow, on the one with Rodney King.
Yeah, it's called L.A. Riot. And
right.
Yeah, that's where I met Cicely Tyson, and I'm in the scene. I get to rob her liquor store. She owned the liquor store in the hood, and me and a couple other hoodlums went in and was stealing her stock right in front of her face, And then it was a scene where Matt Perry from 90210, where he was a police officer, and we gathered around him, and he just pulled out his gun and shot one of us dead. So that was foul. And those type of things were happening really during the Rodney King. So that movie, L.A. Riot, that was another memorable film in my eyes, and I still get residuals from that as well. But I enjoyed working in the film industry. But I wanted to bring Hollywood to St. Louis. So I came back. I bought a studio here, and I bought a warehouse here and turned it into a studio, and I still have it. It's never been open to the public because, we don't have enough security where we feel comfortable to let people in and out.
Oliver Saint also had a studio, when that was
yes, that was the first studio I ever recorded in when I was 14. Oliver Saint.
It went over to the public. Neither this, it was like a private studio.
Private studio, right? It was walking distance from my house. I grew up on Margaretta, and the studio was on Angela Ridge, other side of Taylor, and I grew up at Margaretta and Red. And so he
around the corner. I grew up on Lexington in the 4100 block. Cause you go right there, Taylor Avenue, and you go down a little bit, and you're right at the studio.
Right at the studio. You might have been in there when I was recording. First time I walked in there.
No. I didn't. I never had a chance to go in. Okay, I knew it was there. Okay, cause I didn't get into the. I got into the radio part. I didn't get into the movie part.
Okay.
I didn't have the opportunity, to be involved. But I was around people who had, who I read Regal Sports in those days also. So I was on the entertainment side, on that side, where we were the entertainers, like Teddy, like people like that,
Right.
On the town, like, what's his name, Mays, and, people like that.
I utmost respect for Regal Sports. We used to go down there and get our tickets. I was going out.
Right.
I was in the 8th grade, had no business going to see Isley Brothers, Mays, Parliament.
Yeah, right. That amazing. Yeah, y'all would be backstage, okay?
Right.
My role with Regal Sports, okay, was that, when some of it was that Mr. Agnew, Mr. Massey, and all of them, okay, what we would do before the concerts, we would go to Regal Sports, we go out back there, okay, and we get the money to go down to the opera house, the auditorium, wherever it's going to be in. And what happened, it blew my mind the first time I ever did it, okay? And Mr. Marshall rode with me, and Mr. Agnew rode with a guy, in charge of security, okay? And named Donnie. Donnie said, stay close to me, okay? And Regal Sports is right there at Compton and with the Olive there, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so what happened? He said, follow me, okay? Coffee. We went up 100 miles an hour, straight down to the opera house. Well, and because he had, we were carrying over $107,000 of money.
Wow.
And we would go to the stage door, and then we'd go backstage there and sit up the briefcases, and then that's when all of the managers would come in there to get their money. Before they wanted cash money.
Wow.
In those days, before they went on stage, and so a person would have to, come in there with the money belt, and I remember with the pendergrass, all how big they were. They all wanted cash before they went on air. Not on air, I'm sorry, we went on stage.
Really?
Yeah, and so once I did all that, okay, then I could just wander around, okay, and, mingle with the entertainers, okay, like Larry Graham, Graham at the stadium, I remember him, the Isaac brothers, and Brendan Person and stuff, I could go down the list. I could get a grant, his manager, and it was like that, like you, okay. I just had to be in the right place at the right time. There were Regal Sports. I was on the side that everybody wish they could be on, looking at the audience, okay. And I could just, now we'd be backstage watching the concerts. So later on in life, okay, it felt funny me buying a ticket to go to a concert.
Right. I know. Exactly. I understand that because you used to get in free all the time. We used to buy the least expensive tickets, and my sister and I, and we would buy balcony tickets, but we would be on the bottom floor, front row, and then we would try to always get backstage. I knew what was it, Ron O.J. and
Yeah,
and all
yeah, right. Yeah.
Remember those times?
KTZ, right, all of that, right, yeah.
Yes.
Randy.
Randy O.J., his brother or his uncle, Nate Perkin, their little nephew, Nate Perkin, was my friend. And so when we ended up moving, we lived right next door to Randy. And so if I can get in the kill, then I would be able to get backstage and taking pictures with. And these were grown men, the Isley brothers and all that. But it was just I guess just to be back there and be able to get autographs and photos, But
I never thought about it. As a matter of fact, I know one of the biggest shows we did was at the Checker Dome. Where I was very impressed. Okay, that he was so funny. Okay, in those days, Jim Gates was we had tickets. People. Well, what happened before a concert? Okay. We had to go around and pick up all the money from all the outlets that sold tickets, right? And that would give us the money that we needed to pay the artists, right? So Jim Gates had a Rolls Royce in those days, and he was responsible for picking up the money on the east side. Well, Jim Gates was late coming down there with the money. And I never get right over it. Mr. Agnew was almost about to have a heart attack. And when Jim came in, he stuttered. But all this stuff we going behind the scenes, okay? Yeah. And people never knew. Never do, okay? And so once we got everybody paid, okay, then I would go outside, and down there I went down and got in the sound box when he was, they control the sound and stuff like that. But it was like, it's one of those experiences, okay, that you and I can have this conversation about being behind the scenes and doing things like that very few people of color get a chance to say, I was there. I was backstage doing this. It was just a rarity. The guy named DJ G Wiz, I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he did a documentary called Background Check. We had the screening last Sunday, and he gathered all the rappers, DJs, and dancers from back in the day, from starting in '79, I believe he started, and he had interviewed us through the years, and he put that on. He showed the documentary of it, and it was just amazing. But I saw it in '76. That's when I did my first radio show. So he got to get you. I don't know how he missed you because he has the people you named, and so he couldn't get everybody. But I gotta let him know you missed somebody. You missed them because you had your own radio station, right? Right. At that time I was with KBDY FM. And matter of fact, that's where I told the story last week. One day. That I ended up going down to the station because of Jesse Jackson. He been put to rest this weekend. He came to St. Louis for a rally for Congressman Clay, and it was being sponsored by the Coalition Black Trade Unions, okay, and some other people. And I was for the coalition, and so as it turned out, I was on stage with all of them. Congressman Clay. Jed Banks, Benny Gordon, all those heavyweights. Ira, it has to be a documentary just done on you because you have done so much, and people have told me so much about what you've done. Jonathan Lancaster was excited, told me, I interviewed him. I got a chance to interview him. He said you was the first, because of you, that was his first opportunity to get in a radio station and go behind the scenes and learn so much about radio. And how you were general manager of a radio station and all of that, and man, I'm waiting on the documentary about you. You got to make sure that happens. You have to make sure. I was talking to a good friend of mine, Deneen Busby, and she's part of our staff here, team here, okay. And we were saying that when you're ready, okay, you don't think about what you just did. You work on your next project you were doing in California, okay? You don't rest on, you can tell them that I did this, I want to tell a story or write an article.
But it's so important. It's so important. You don't.
It's important. I didn't say it wasn't important, okay? No. By no means am I saying it's not, what I did was unimportant. I'm not saying that, okay? I'm just saying at the time, okay, you're focusing on your next job, so to speak, or the next challenge that you gotta be in. There's an event taking place that you gotta be a part of.
Right.
Because like when I was in the mayor's office, okay, every day we had a different challenge, okay, that we had to deal with. Whatever happened today is good, okay, and that'd be the story in the paper for that day, okay. But what we're doing the next day, okay, is a story for the next day. And so you have time to think about, well, I did this or I did that. You're focusing on the next thing that needs to be dealt with. And you gotta be focused, okay, to make sure you can't live on your laurels. You know what I'm saying? I remember when I was in high school at Solon, I remember a young guy. I was on B team about to go to varsity, and this guy was on varsity. He was saying, "We waiting on you folks. And we heard what you did down on B team. We just gonna make sure, hey, we're gonna kick you." I said, "Oh, okay." Well, from that point forward, okay, I started to think about, guess what? I gotta be better the next day than I was the day before.
That's right.
And I think that's a process that I hear what you were doing. I'm just following you in California, that what you did the day before, okay, was history. I always say, today's history. What I do today is tomorrow's history. And so you got to kind of focus on, on what's going to happen the next. Like Scott will tell you, you've been doing it for quite a while, I do stuff, and we all do stuff, but we don't focus on what we did yesterday.
Exactly. It's just because it's just part of the journey.
It's part of the journey.
Part of the journey. And when I talk to my grandkids, them sometimes, then then you talk about stuff that you did, and my daughters or something, that they have been a part of stuff, like my grandsons, will always tell me, but Papa, one right now is working with, this guy's unbelievable, but he's working right now, he's a quantum engineer, and he's working, creating things now, in high tech, that were like IBM has reached out to him, for people like this, okay. But he's saying, well, Papa, I saw you were taking me to meet with you, okay, and I saw you sitting there at the table, negotiating or talking, okay, and at the time, coffee, I wasn't thinking about them watching me that closely, okay. Right.
It was just part of, they would come here on the weekend with me and we go to the radio station, I did the radio show on KTC that Saturday morning. And the rest of the day, okay, I would be down around Legal Sports, not the Legal Sports, down to Hudson, MSC. We would get together from there, have our meetings there. We would get our development over Dearborn, Vanderbilt then. And so we would have our planning meetings, and after I left the station, we would go down there and work the rest of that afternoon, making that development take place that we and I talked about now. That's where Alderman Kennedy's house was built on Washington, and Sarah built his home also. But again, I'm saying, I forgot about my radio days when I left the station, okay. The radio was behind me, okay.
I understand
that. I had to go put my developer's hat on.
I understand it. When I'm in California, it's about the filmmaking. It's the industry.
Right.
I had an album.
Right.
I had an album out. I have a rap album. I still have one album left, just one album left, and they have it on display. Wow. Over near Harris Stowe at a place over there. They have a whole hip hop display across the street from Harris Stowe.
Okay.
And they have my album, and I would like it back when the display is over because that's the only one I have left. But when I'm in St. Louis, it's about real estate. I was in the real estate down here. I was an insurance agent, and then I became a real estate investor. and I know real estate inside
Right.
and out. But and so I forget about that, and then a movie come up or something come
Right.
up.
There we go. There we go. There we go.
Triggers, you know. And it
There
takes
we
my
go.
family
There we go.
member. It takes my family member to bring up something because I don't even be thinking about
Right.
it. You know.
That's my point. That's my point. Okay, about me.
It takes them to say something. Oh, Coffee, tell them about the movie you did. Here go the movie this. Oh, don't let it be a family event. And then they gonna start breaking out with movies you done forgot all about.
Oh yeah, like me, I built the Houston for the city of St. Louis. Created NCLTV. That's still going on and stuff. And we had one Kelly over there, which is also in India also on one of the programs that I support. I mean, that's what I said. You don't think about yourself, okay? Like today, okay, we finish this program. I gotta start focusing on next week's program.
Right.
In the program that goes for next week and next week, okay, and also about my business that we got our cell phone tower project also.
Right.
And so that's what I say. We don't have a chance to just linger on those things, okay. But guess what? We're so blessed, okay, that we can have this type of conversation on our station here, okay. That we're sharing information with black businesses and business owners, okay. We let them know that they got to keep on stepping, so to speak.
Yes.
I mean, and that keep on stepping was a song that came out years ago. Well, didn't know what it means then, okay, but now you got to keep on stepping, okay.
Right. That's right.
If you're gonna keep track, you can't just sit there and say in St. Louis, okay. Now I wasn't born here, okay, but so many times I see people who can tell you all about what they did years ago. I mean, but what have you done today?
Right, and staying relevant,
Yeah.
And so,
Candy, years ago I did a graduation speech for a vocational training center. They gone now for most part. And in the speech I gave, the speech what you call it, the speech for the graduates there. I use an example. In those days, and this was dated. Janet Jack had a son come back there, "What you done for me lately?" And so I just kind of took my name Ira and said, and broke it down. So Ira, the I means that you came to school here, you took the initiative. So I stood for initiative, okay?
okay.
And then the R stood for resources or energy, to go get the knowledge and stuff. And that's where you came to this college here to get the information, to get the resources that you need, okay, for you to be successful. And you read all about this, you know how to do it, what the requirements are. And once you got all your things into your system, okay, then, okay, you make graduation now. And so now it's the most important part, okay, which is the A. And then I gave them an example, okay, if you have a spaceship, it goes up, it's full of fuel and stuff, okay, and so I mean, but you got to go up, okay. And I gave them an example. You go into a room, it's in darkness, okay, but once you put that switch, okay, that's action. You got light.
Mm.
And then I said, I'm going to put it with Janet Jackson. So you put those three things together, okay? I said, now what have you done for yourself lately?
Wow.
Use that our concept. How am I going to benefit myself? And do the things that can benefit my family. I went to school here. How am I going to put those resources together every day? Make sure I get paid.
Right. Wow.
That's another life.
Wow.
Well, you said why they make me feel like something, but that was again, like I said, I always say in another life.
Another life. Yes.
But I also have so much for me. But let's get back to you, okay? Now we done went down a memory lane here, okay? But I wanted people to find out why I have Parker Wright on so much, okay? And she didn't even tell us about her career that she got into politics when she ran for the United States Senate. But she went up against a lady that was a Bush, Harris. What would I call Bush? She's the heir to the Bush money.
Yes.
Millions of dollars, okay.
Billionaire, the billionaire.
We get this billionaire, okay, and you came in third in that campaign.
I was tying third, and then he passed me up with a few votes. So I actually technically came in fourth, but it was about it was 27 people I think in the race, and
it was a lot of people in the race.
It was a good run, and more importantly, I was said to have inspired 8 other African Americans to run for United States, just in Missouri alone. And then also Zaki Baruti, he's the one who asked me to run in the first place. And so Zaki challenged blacks to run all over the country. And so that was the record number where it had never been that many black or African Americans run for United States Senate ever. And so that was in 2022. But in 2018, when I ran against Claire McCaskill, I came in second place on the Democratic Party. And I forget how many people was in the race, and it was 20-something people in the race, but I came in second place. And again, Claire had millions. And
she's a millionaire too.
Oh, absolutely. My budget was less than $5,000. But
now Claire McCaskill's husband is a multi-millionaire developer. Okay, so
they had the money.
They had the money.
They had the money. We didn't, but we had the challenge.
Okay.
We had the challenge.
But see, Coffee, this is determination. Okay, see, people vote for people, okay, that look like them, not necessarily color, okay, but people that down earth people, okay. You had what we call a people campaign. In a people campaign is much more effective than a money campaign. Because when people can see you hustling out there every day, and I ran campaigns, for people, and every day your strategy changes, or you meet new people every day. You're going into new neighborhoods. Like you was going across the state, you in Johnson, Lancaster. Well, you guys are all over the state.
Oh, we hit every
people in the world, you sleep in Walmart lots, okay? I mean, I know the stories, okay?
Oh, right. That is so true. I mean, Lancaster was my campaign manager in the second campaign. And like you said, we slept in cars on Walmart lots. We slept at the Quick Trip gas station. We wasn't in no $100 hotels. Every dime that we got.
But you got, but see, those are the things, okay, that you outworked all the rest of the people.
Thank you. I mean,
and those are the things, okay, that why I have Coffee come on, because it's these experiences, okay, that now, okay, we see now why she's so in love and so determined now about this Buffalo Soldier situation here. And I've been procrastinating, but I got a friend of mine that worked with the Buffalo Soldier out in Kansas. He one of the members out there, his family had. And we have on the program, we've been on the program many times, so his wife Candace, but I'm still trying to get you guys together. And we can tie your museum into the one out there, the big museum, as I call it. That's where Colin Powell came down out there. And Wayne told a story, okay, how Colin Powell came down there and got involved and gave them national recognition, okay. Colin Powell went there and said, hey, this story got to be told.
Wow.
The story got to be told. And Wayne helped tell the story, okay. And something that he did. And so that's why I said, see, what we do as blacks, and not just black, but people individually, you have to connect your resources to other resources.
Yes.
And when you do that, okay, being okay, we can say, I worked all I could today, the Bible tells you work while the sun is shining.
Yes.
You do all that you can do, okay? You know, the Bible tells us that do all that you can do the best that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, as I look at coffee, you do the best that you can do, and you're so you're so unselfish, okay, about working with people.
Thank you.
You know, and that's the thing. You know, you're a humble person, and you know, when you come on here, I had to force it out, like for the hen's teeth, okay. To ring out about what you did in Hollywood.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And what you did in Hollywood, I don't know any black person that I know, okay, can say they have done all that you did, to be around these different actors, okay, to be part of both of the unions out there. They have still, they women, commentators, okay, they still can say, I get a royalty check coming to me. Not many blacks can say that.
Well, I do. They can verify it. As a matter of fact.
Yeah.
My dues are due. My dues are due.
Right. You paid your dues, okay. You know what I'm saying? And now you reap the rewards.
Reap the rewards, and I'm still paying union dues, and I don't even do union gyms anymore. But I just, I've been a part of the union since 1988, and I don't want to walk away. My son. Is in a union.
Also, okay.
I have a son.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Tell about this. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. He had a co-starring role in The Parenthood with Robert Townsend, and he had auditioned. It wasn't no connections I had or anything like that. He auditioned against hundreds of kids, and they picked him, and it was before I got my role. And so.
But see, that's how our kids are. He watched what Mom was doing, and he learned, okay, from what you were doing.
Wow, they watch you. And the thing is Robert Townsend was here a few months ago, and I went to his one-man show, and I invited 50 people out. And so about 46 of them showed up, I think, or 37 of them showed up. But anyway, I didn't think he would remember me because, he sees so many people. That was a long time. I worked on 5 Heartbeats. That was a long time ago, and when that movie came out, but he looked at me. I stood in line like everybody else to get a picture with him, an autograph. And when my turn came up, he looked at me and shook his head and said no, and I shook my head and said yes, and then he just grabbed me and hugged me and kind of spin me around.
Well, see, it's those things, okay, that you have paid your dues, okay. And that you meet again, it's those people that you'd be surprised how those big stars, okay, remember, we call our little itty bitty people. Who we are, because, but they recall who they, the people left a good impression on them.
He remembered me, and he spin me around and took all kind of pictures with me and everything, and
how did that make you feel?
It felt great because I didn't think he remembered me. My part was small. I played Eddie King's mother's friend, and so in an audience scene where everybody was booing him, and I said boo my ass, sing it, Eddie, sing, and he sung, and that was it. And if you went for popcorn, you would miss me. And so,
but he didn't. He remembered you.
He remembered me, and so it was nice because I had so many people out there, just to go and support him. I said St. Louis got to, show him some love and support, and so that's the way.
Let's get back. Yeah, we got to talk about the Buffalo Soldier Project now. So I just wanted people to know about you, okay? While I have you on, okay, while you're so important to our community, and the things that you're continuously doing now on this Buffalo Soldier Project, okay, this is something, okay, I'm going to tell people, as you want to tell them, okay, this is something that you almost have self-funded your own self.
Yes, absolutely.
This is not what somebody said with coffee, here's some money for you. Here's a couple of $100,000 to go do this.
I wish.
Okay. But I'm saying, that hadn't been the case. You made this thing take place. So right now we talking about what's in St. Louis right now. We don't got a couple minutes left here. Tell us now about the project right quick again.
This project is meant to be also a tourist attraction. When people come to St. Louis, I don't care what bad you heard about us, I want you to know that our ancestors lived right here on these grounds where the Colored Troop Buffalo Soldiers 13th Amendment Park sit. They lived right here. They ate, slept, was medicated. Some of them died. They had
give us a location.
4007 Cassup, right at the corner of Cassup and Warning. 4007. You can Google us, family. This is in the heart of Fairgrounds Park. Fairgrounds Park is where the Benton Barracks was located, and that's where the barracks for the colored troops, for the runaway slaves and the black free men that fought in the war. And Fairgrounds Park was double the size that you see it now. And we sit right in the middle. We're right here in the corner of Cassup and Warning, and the rest of Fairgrounds Park is gone. So we claiming it. We are where they lived, and so we have a statue of a buffalo 8 feet long, about 6-7 feet tall. We have a statue of an eagle with a 10 feet wingspan, and it's about 4 feet tall. We need help, family. We're asking any contractors, any carpenters, anybody. We need help to get this eagle up in the air. We need it 20 feet in the air, family, on a 20-foot column. This buffalo, we wanted at least 15 feet in the air. We have a bell from the 1800s, original bell, old church bell made at the Bell Company in Baltimore, who's responsible for making over 80% of the bells in this country. We have the bell. We ring it. It's the Freedom Bell. We ring it. For February is Black History Month. It's Freedom Month. The day, February 1st, is when the 13th Amendment was first signed, and we rung it then. And we also have a cannon with a 12-feet barrel. Wheels stand about 6 feet high, family, representing the white guy, John Brown, as well as his sons who lost their lives, were hung for trying to overthrow slavery, robbing, and overthrowing.
You were the abolitionist.
Yeah, abolitionists, that's right. So we dedicate that to him, and as well as the black men and women who followed behind him in trying to overthrow slavery before the Civil War. And so these are the monuments that we have, and we're trying to raise funds to get a fence, to fence it in. And one of the ways we're doing that is allowing the public to be a part of this, allowing everybody. I can't put a brick with 300,000 soldiers' names on them. I can't do 300,000 bricks. So I'm letting you step in and get a brick with your own ancestors' name on it. Get your name on it. The great things that anybody has done to contribute towards our liberation, to move the needle forward, showing black people has done this. People has done this in the best interest of black people. If you're not black and you've done something in our best interest, get a brick with your name on it, and show, that you're on the right side of the fence. And so that money from the brick is going to pay for your brick, and any overflow goes towards our fence and our columns that we're purchasing to display these monuments and keep them safe.
5 minutes, Mr. Larry.
Okay, good. Okay, now look at that. How can a person participate? They want to make a donation, to the project themselves. They want to get a brick for themselves. Or just be a volunteer to help you out. How can they get it?
Call me. I am accessible. Everybody know me. I am no secret. I'm Googleable. Or you can call me at area code 314-769-6067. 314.
One more time. There you go.
314 is the area code. 769-6067. And again, you can Google me, family. Call me.
No. One more time.
314-769-6067. And you can cash app me, Coffee Wright STL. You can cash app a donation. You can Zelle us a donation. Coffee Wright STL at Yahoo, family. Make sure the number match the name, because we don't want the money going to the wrong person. We got started trying to hijack. So the number is 314-769-6067. We can use all the volunteers. Ira, guess what? We even have a garden named Big Medicine. That's after York. You remember York from Lewis and Clark?
Mm-hmm.
The big black slave who really gave Lewis and Clark the entire tour that took them up and down Mississippi. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
They trying to forget him. Downtown at the riverfront, they have the statue of Lewis and Clark, and they have their faithful companion. But guess who the faithful companion is? A dog. A dog.
What?
Not York. Yes. Go down. I don't know when you've been down there lately.
I mean, he was a tour. I mean, he was the man that made it happen.
He's the man that made it happen. The Indians wouldn't allow Lewis and Clark on the grounds of Missouri if it wasn't for York. You know, they loved him. They looked at him as God.
No.
Yes, the faithful companion is a dog. It's Lewis Clark, and they holding a dog, and it says the faithful companion. No mention of York whatsoever on that statue down there at the riverfront. So we're naming our gardens called Big Medicine because York knew what herbs was healthy, what herbs.
Well, he was Fort West. That's how he was raised. Okay.
Okay.
That's how he found out about all that. He was raised. That his family raised him. Most people back in those days, okay, they were raised to know what medicines to take.
Yes.
You know,
they were the farmers.
Right. They would have different gardens, okay. People have different things they were raised, you know, and then because they knew, okay, these things were needed.
Yes.
You know, for them to survive.
Absolutely. And so he, you know, they couldn't even eat. Lewis and Clark was sick as dogs, and they couldn't even survive. And he nursed them back to health. He shot the food, did the hunting for them, and all of that. But no. Why people like me could come out here to nowhere and go anywhere without somebody out here being their guide, me to it, and take care of it. Exactly. So
let's be realistic, okay?
Realistically, you know. And so we're dedicating the garden. We named it York. We can name it Big Medicine, and I'm hoping one day we can raise enough money to get a statue of him and put it right there. You know, have a statue.
I got some ideas. We always have ideas, but we don't get together to take it to the next level, okay? But you and I will be talking. Now listen to you. I got a couple of thoughts, okay, about how we can move those statues around also.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, because.
Anyway, I haven't said that, okay. The time is about to go. Give that number one more time.
Area code 314-769-6067. Tell me, we need your help. We need everybody's help. If you want to be a gardener, you want to help with the garden, you want to help. If you just help hold the fence while we put it in the ground, you know, because we can use all the help. It's for real, family. It's a lot, you know, it's a lot of work, but we can do it. And because we have to set a date for the grand opening, you know, and the grand.
Now, Harold said that's copyright. My name is Howard, folks. Like I said, Turkey Bowl did in D.C. and Birmingham emergency came up. And guess what? This is my Christmas Chamber of Commerce on a beautiful Saturday afternoon on FergusonUSHotTalk.com. That was copyright. My name is Aaron Scott. Thank you. Still touch again next week. Life is good. Be safe. Not too much about Chamber of Commerce on FergusonUSHotTalk.com. Talk to you again next week. Life is good.